Hi everyone, my name is Brittany. I am the ITG coach here at Vero Orthopaedics and Vero Neurology. We're going to go ahead and get started, so thank you for being here. And next we're going to introduce Pamela Brauer. She is the nurse practitioner who oversees our ITG program, and she's going to go over a little bit about what she's seen with the program, as well as a little bit of her background information also. So go ahead, Pam.
I'm Pamela Brauer. I'm the nurse practitioner here that you'll be seeing before your dietary plan. I've been here over 5 years. I've been doing the ITG diet about approximately over a year now. You'll see me first before you start with Brittany for the food, because we go over, make sure that you're medically cleared to do this diet. We go over all your medications and reasons why you should do this. I have multiple patients that come to me that are just doing it because they need to lose weight prior to their surgery, because their knees are starting to bother them, their backs are starting to bother them. So they will have them, the doctors here will have them lose some weight, which is really good prior to surgery. A lot of patients are coming to me to see because they now have hypertension, they have diabetes, thyroid problems. So they come to see me and we'll start the diet. We go over all your medications, we go over things that may decrease during the diet. A lot of times, because you have hypertension now, does not mean that you will have hypertension after you lose 20 to 30 pounds. Many of those things come on as you get older and you gain weight. So when you were younger, you said, I didn't have hypertension, I didn't have diabetes, I didn't have any of these extra comorbidities, which is hypertension and diabetes. That comes on with age and also with weight. So many times we can get rid of a lot of different medications by just dieting, and we'll go over what I want you to do. If you say you have hypertension and you're taking blood pressure medicines every day, well, as you lose the weight, you may need to either decrease or stop that blood pressure medication because your blood pressure is going to go too low, because you're going to be drinking water and that's going to start lowering your blood pressure. So we may be able to get rid of some of the medications as we're doing the ITG diet. A lot of patients get sleep apnea from gaining weight, especially men. They gain their weight more in their stomachs. So it does start to push on the diaphragm and pushes on the lungs, and you end up having sleep apnea. But many dietary things can inflammation from the foods that you're eating can also lead to pain in your joints because you have inflammation. So I just wanted to introduce myself and tell you that you'll be seeing me first, and then you'll be going on to Brittany. I do more the medical part of the visit, and Brittany does the food. Some of the patients that I see, they come in especially for dieting for pain. Patients that have horrible knee pain because they've put all the weight on up top, and they're coming in just to get rid of that pain, and they lose 20 pounds and they say, I don't even need the surgery anymore because my pain is gone off my knees. So that's a lot of the typical patients I see, or ones that I had an 80-year-old gentleman come in the other day, and I said, well, why are you here? He goes, I just don't want to get any other problems going on. So, and I knew I need to lose some weight. And I was like, that's a really good concept. He said, I want to live a lot longer.
I think everyone does, yeah.
Yeah.
We will be going over the rest of the program now. We're actually going to be introducing our Laurel Betty. She is our ITG Vice President of Marketing and Sales. She's going to be going over the presentation with us as well. And go ahead and take over, Miss Laurel.
Okay, alrighty. This is the first time we're doing this, and so we're going to have some fun. I don't want to sit and read to you about every single slide, but I want to make you feel comfortable about the program, and I'm going to give you a little background on myself and how I got involved with ITG Diet. I'm going to take you way back, and back in the early 2000s, I actually had worked with medical clinics in software sales and helping with credentialing and things like that. So after that, we basically decided to get into the medical world, and we had a very large integrated clinic here in St. Pete, Florida, and that's where I'm located, that would really, it's more getting to the root of the problem. You know, it's not just, okay, here you got a headache, here's a pill. Dr. John DeCosmo is our medical director, and he really challenged us when we came into the practice, my husband and I, we're not doctors, to help with people to get healthy. And it's not just about losing weight, it's about getting healthy. And that's what I want everybody to remember. And Pam brought a lot of things up too, as far as pain and inflammation. So there's a lot of other things that come into just losing a few pounds. So my personal story was I was turning 50 at the time we did this. This is back in like 2006. And going through menopause and all those wonderful things, and just gained weight, never had a weight problem all my life. It's just very uncomfortable, very unhappy, hot flashes, all those things. And so John really wanted to add this program, but as a medical doctor, you really don't have time to sit and talk about nutrition and everything in a medical visit. So, all right, so I was the first guinea pig, went on the program. I lost 20 pounds, and it was like 7 to 8 weeks actually when I finished the program. And because I followed it like glue, guys, you have to stick to the program. And I did it the most difficult months of the year, which is November and December. And back then, I mean, this year there's not a lot of Christmas parties and things like that, but there was Christmas parties and events. And, I stuck to it like glue. All right. So I wanted to prove him wrong, but no, it worked. Lost 20 pounds. I felt better. My clothes were fitting better. Basically a lot of pain and inflammation went down. Hot flashes went away. I mean, a lot of things. So then we went on to add it to our practice. And this is when we really saw some wonderful results. Dr. John loved it. Pam mentioned about lowering medications. We see that all the time where just there's so many things that can help people. People that maybe were type 2 diabetic or borderline diabetic, they actually were able to be what we call in remission from diabetes. So a lot of health benefits. We're going to talk about a little bit more, and Pam kind of hit on those. So been around, and then in 2008, we decided to offer to other clinics. So my job today was doing things like this. I love going to see my clinics. I love working with people like Brittany and her medical doctors there. We work with a lot of other medical clinics across the country. We have cardiologists, we have endocrinologists, we have orthopedic groups, a lot of different groups that we work with that are offering the ITG program. So just want to kind of let you know a little bit about my background. I'm not a medical doctor. I've learned so much, and I've been, people have been listen to me. They go, "God, you're a doctor?" And I go, "No." And we always refer back to the doctor. So I can't give like medical advice, but I can tell you experiences and things that we've seen with people on the program. So I'm just going to kind of go now into the program. So let's talk about why this has become such an issue. And it's called the North American diet. As you know, I'm not going to sit and read, but I'm going to talk in general, but it kind of gets the point across. Us as Americans, we want things bigger, better, faster. That's how I say it. So it's fast food. Portion sizes have gotten much larger. Whole lot of more saturated fats, sugars, breads, cereals, muffins, cakes, pastries, pasta, pizza. It's the average American diet. And what it has done is, we're going to go into this a little bit more in detail a little bit later, but it's basically it causes the pancreas to produce an overload abundance of insulin, which basically stays in the system, and that elevates the blood sugar level. And then actually the overproduction of insulin, which I'm going to show you a slide here shortly, is actually the key to store fat. So this is just kind of a little bit of research, and I know with the 2020 census, there's going to be a lot more numbers coming out, but just look at these two maps kind of go side by side. BMI or obesity is increasing. Basically look at the tan and beige back in 1994 to 2014, and along with that, diabetes has been a big factor. So that's increasing at an alarming rate, and I think you've been all reading about that. Now, let's talk about where we're heading. I've worked with a pediatrician that we have also offered a PEDS program. They are seeing many more children being overweight or obese. And not only that, they're getting the onset of adult diseases. So about 1 in 3 American kids and teens are now overweight or obese, more than triple that of 1963. I graduated in the mid-70s, and I can remember back when I was in school, we had about 2 kids in my class that was overweight, and I can tell you their names, and I felt really, really sad for them back then. Now you're seeing more and more of that happen. And it also causes a broad range of health problems that a lot of kids had not seen till adulthood, like diabetes. It's interesting, when I had Dr. Bruno is the one I've been working with as a pediatrician. She was telling me some stories about how some of the children, diabetes type 2, high cholesterol, high liver enzymes, fatty liver. These are some things. And basically children, they get teased. I mean, I hear horror stories about some of this. So basically, we all have to eat healthier, and that's what we're going to teach you how to do. Let's say what the real culprit is. I'm going to tell you something. If you don't take anything home from this meeting tonight, and this is what I really drill in because it gives you a good visual. For every 4 carbs that equals a teaspoon of sugar. Get out your labels, get out your nutrition labels. Now there's also fiber that offsets it, but let's just talk about, especially in your candies and cookies and all the things that, is tempting right now this time of year. It's sugar. So remember, if you have something that has 50 carbs in, how many teaspoons of sugar is that? Normally I ask that question. So the thing is that you would not go over the sugar bowl and eat those teaspoons of sugar, but that's what you're doing every single time that you have too many carbohydrates. So remember that when you look at your labels. Now we have our first question. Brittany, you want to take this over?
All right, folks, so we tried to make the presentation a little fun, so we have some questions in here. So something's going to pop up on your screen in a moment. The first question is, how many calories do you need in order to burn and lose 1 pound of fat? All right, so let's go ahead and do our poll. So 1 pound of fat, what do you think? How many calories do you need to burn in order to lose 1 pound of fat? All right, we got almost everybody in there. Wow, you guys are good. You guys figured this out fast. It took me a little bit to figure out how to click everything, I guess. All right, we'll give it another second or so. Almost everybody voted. And this was everybody's answer here. So, wow, Laurel, look at that. They actually, everyone pretty much got it correct. They said 3,500 to 4,000 calories. There we go. That's awesome, guys. Good job, guys. That was a good question. Good job.
Yes. And, a lot of people don't know that answer. But you know what? That's about like running a marathon. And I don't know you. I'm not a runner, guys. And losing 20 pounds after one pound, that's like one marathon. No, not going to do that.
Not going to happen, right?
Not going to happen. So let's talk about your body's energy and how we burn. And this is basically going to be a lot on understanding our program and how it works. Now, I'm not sure if any of you, as far as health issues that are listening to this, but what we're talking about a program right now, we actually have two different programs. One is what we call our regular program, and that is going to be what we call getting into just like a mild ketosis. Ketosis is just fat burning. Now, anybody that's a type 1 diabetic, as you know, cannot go into ketosis. So we have an optional plan for them. So I don't know what any of your health issues are out there, but what I'm talking about right now is the regular program, but we do have an optional program that will be a little bit different, but it still works very effectively. And Brittany can help you with that too. But that's why I don't want anybody to get scared that they're listening to this. Okay, the 3 squares that we have here, we've got carbohydrates and sugars, your protein and your muscle, and what we really want to burn down here is what we call your fat, right? That's what we all want to get rid of. But the thing is, your body is always going to burn the carbohydrates and sugars first as you eat them, all right? So anybody, the carbohydrate sugars, that's what you eat first. The thing is that on our program, what we're going to do is protect your muscle and your protein, and we're going to burn your fat by emptying what we call your glycogen reserve, which is your carbohydrates and sugars. So the thing is then we give you enough protein with the ITG protein along with regular protein you're going to have on the program. So we're going to trick your body to burn fat. Now, the thing is that we're going to maintain your muscle mass, but really this is the key to our program. Fat burns 9 kilocalories versus 3 to 5 of carbohydrate and sugars. So guess what? Once you get into this mild ketogenic state, you're going to have more energy. I've had people tell me like, oh my God, I like this will be like day 4 or 5. It's like, oh my God, I got up and cleaned the house. I feel so much better. Brittany's going to talk a little bit about how your body feels when you do get started. But this is something I want you to understand. This is simple science. I didn't do real high level here, but this is how our program works. It is not dangerous. And that's why it is medically supervised to kind of be watched every single week. All right. So as long as you keep eating those carbohydrates and sugars, guess what? You're not going to burn your fat, or you're not going to stay in your ketosis. It's really as simple as that. The thing is I want to talk about insulin and your receptors. And again, this is something that how your body, the more insulin that's produced, and if your body's not utilizing that insulin in your body properly, that's what causes basically fat gain. So the first up on top is what we call a normal cell. And those are like little receptors there. And you see that they're gathering the insulin and the glucose, which is the sugar levels. They'll be able to grab them, and they're putting them into the cell. This is the cell wall right here. Now, what happens is in insulin resistance though, you see that? The receptors aren't working. They're not bringing the insulin into the inner wall of the cell. So guess what? It brings the inner wall of the cell, and that will reduce your glucose level and your blood sugar levels. So the thing is that as long as those receptors aren't absorbing, your brain will tell your pancreas, if you have a carbohydrate and sugar, they're like, oh, I need to make more insulin to basically bring your sugar levels down. But if it's not getting into the cell and it's not going to work properly, guess what? Your body's going to produce, brain says, more insulin. And so it produces, and that overproduction basically causes fat storage. And so that's why, again, understanding this, you can be insulin resistant and not be a diabetic. So what can be done about this? The solution, the ITG plan, again, we have thousands of people on our program. It's going to transform the body's ability to digest sugars properly by regulating insulin levels. How? But we call it by giving the pancreas a well-deserved break, by limiting simple and complex carbohydrates until your weight loss goal is achieved. So what do you expect? Okay, again, this is, everybody might be a little bit different. Age, gender, if you're on some medications, might make a little different, but an average woman will lose around 2 to 3 pounds a week, and basically it's mostly all fat, which we like to hear that. Men, I don't know how many men on here, but I always kind of make a little comment, we don't like you, because you do lose your weight faster. Because you have more muscle mass, and your muscle is what helps burn those calories, and that will help reduce your fat. And then I also, too, if there's couples out there that are going to get on this program together, I always tell you, don't, though for a woman, you might get a little bit discouraged sometimes because he might lose the weight faster, but that's okay. Just kind of bear with it because that's just the way they're built. The first week of the program, you probably won't feel the best because you're going to be doing a little detoxing because you basically have eliminated your carbohydrate, your sugars and your carbs from your body. Once you've adjusted, you're going to start feeling the benefits and look out what comes next. Brittany, here's our second question.
The question is, how many pounds of pressure is taken off the knees for every 1 pound of fat that you lose? So how many pounds of pressure is taken off the knees for every 1 pound of fat? So we're going to go ahead and we're going to launch that poll for your answers. All right, go right ahead, folks. We'll see what the answers are. Take a look. Perfect. So let's end the polling here. Let's share the results here. Okay, so it looks like 63% of you selected the right answer. So the correct answer is actually going to be 5 pounds of pressure. So for every 1 pound of fat you lose, that is 5 pounds of pressure off of your knees. So from an orthopedic standpoint, that is definitely very beneficial. Go right ahead, Vero.
Absolutely. And, Pam really alluded to that earlier in the conversation. It was like how some people, they have a lot of knee and joint issues. And that's why I tell people 1 pound is 5 pounds of pressure off your joints. And some people, they want to opt for surgery, but you know what? A lot of people really don't want to have surgery. And some people aren't even required to have surgery. If they lose that weight, it's going to help them a whole lot. So
yeah, and actually, Laura, to touch on that a little bit, we've seen it go kind of both ways. We've had a few patients in the past who have had need for some type of, spine surgery or maybe even something in their neck, also too much pressure from the weight. We've seen a lot of people lose, 30 to 50 pounds depending on the goals. And it's very interesting. Some people actually don't need those surgeries anymore. It's because they're not feeling as much arthritic pressure. They're not feeling as much tension. They're not eating as much sugar, which is what causes a lot more inflammation in the body. So generally for people when they were technically on our program, it's just a little bit easier on the joints, a little bit easier on the knees and things of that nature as well. So we've seen people not have to get surgeries. I have had people who have, lost the weight and still had to have the surgery. If it's bone on bone, sometimes there's nothing that can really be done. You have to have the surgery. But yeah, it's very beneficial, at least getting that first 5 to 10 pounds off of you for sure.
Absolutely. And I'm talking to some other orthopedic surgeons. It's like some people don't qualify for surgery because their BMI might be too high. They don't even qualify for the surgery or the insurance won't cover it. So that's issues right there.
Absolutely. So the new Medicare recommendation is actually going to be 40. So if your BMI is actually not underneath 40, for a lot of people, you can't get your knee replacement, you can't get your hip replacement and things of that nature, because when your BMI is actually over 40 and you are morbidly obese, you have a lot of more comorbidities that Pam was going over with, a lot more things that can happen as you're recovering after surgery. Technically, for Medicare, as an example, if you, for instance, have your surgery with a physician and something in the next week or so, I hate to say this, but unfortunately goes wrong, you get sick, there was an underlying condition that they weren't aware of, Medicare has to eat that cost and they have to bring you back into the hospital and take care of you and get you healthy again. So now what they're doing is they're making it a requirement that people are at a healthier BMI, and some people too, they're even having quit smoking cigarettes beforehand. So they're definitely getting very into the health and everything when it comes to surgeries coming up. And Dr. Pop there, he is very involved with our program as well. Dr. Pop has done a few segmentations where he's basically having his patients try to shoot for a 36 BMI to a 38 maximum when they're having any type of neck or spine, different types of surgeries or procedures done. Just a little bit of Medicare information.
Great. She's the expert. All right. So let's just talk about some of the benefits that you're going to have. So you're going to have improved energy. We've seen that appetite control and reduced cravings, usually in day 4 or 5. Some people might be a carboholic and it might be very difficult. They're going to maybe have a tough time the first couple of days. And that's where really stick to the program, drink your water, make sure you follow the program 100% and you'll see the results. You retain your muscle mass, quick weight loss without sacrificing muscle mass. We're going to talk about that and how other diets will affect this. Improve blood sugar levels, cholesterol levels, and reduce blood pressure. We've seen that. I always tell people, as if they're on some medications, if they're on like high blood pressure medication, you bend down really quickly and you get up, you're dizzy, contact your provider because they might be able to reduce your medications. Acid reflux, I call it the little purple pill. I've seen people get off that within a short period of time. And as normal, I can't make any medical claims here, but I can say a lot of people have been able to reduce their medications. With a lot of other diets. Now, you know what? There is so many diets out there right now, and you can lose weight on most programs out there if you follow them. However, the real key is really understanding to keep healthy for the rest of your life and really, to know how to eat properly. And a lot of those other programs, you lose water, you lose fat, you lose lean tissue, including muscle. And the thing is, a lot of those, a lot of people, yo-yo diets, you put the weight back on, and guess what? You're not going to replace the muscle that you lost. You're going to replace it with fat, and fat is harder and harder to lose. Your basal metabolic rate, your BMR, is going to go down because, which I mentioned before, more men have more muscle mass, and that's what gets your body to burn those calories. So it actually will slow your BMR down, and the thing is, it's harder and harder to lose weight. So this basically a low-calorie balanced diet, which is what a lot of other balanced diets are. I'm going to show you a graph on the next one, but it's the same portions of carbs, fats, and proteins, which we call the macronutrients. Wrong approach for really optimal fat mass and muscle sparing. So it equals muscle loss, and it really creates a deficiency in your vitamins, minerals, and your electrolytes. So if you look at this graph, this is going to kind of compare a little bit. On a normal balanced diet, this is not on a diet. A diet is a bad word. A diet is really what you eat, not just necessarily losing weight, but we just, as Americans, call it diet. It really is a food plan. It's a plan of action. So on a regular, what we call balanced diet, you see your carb percentage, your fat percentage, and your protein. On a lower calorie diet, you're going to, basically they cut those portions down, but you're still going to have carbs, you're going to have your fats and your proteins. Step 1 in ITG, we're really lowering those carbohydrates. We don't take them away 100%, but we're going to lower those carbohydrates. We're going to lower the amount of fat, and we're going to keep your protein in a good portion. Normally, this is something that we probably should have added, but we will next time, is I'm going to answer it for you. But, how much protein do we really need every single day? And a lot of the people will throw out a number, but the thing is everybody as an individual. So I kind of go like this. I call it a fighting weight. Let's just say if a woman is 150 pounds, half of her body weight in grams she could be eating in protein. So that's 75 grams of protein every single day. I call it your fighting weight because it's not if you're 200 pounds, that doesn't mean you should have 100. Feed where your desired weight and what's good for your body. Because that will help you maintain your protein. Because a lot of programs out there are very, that's high in carbs. It's the portions are all off. So you're not going to maintain your muscle, which is very, very important. So we focus on helping build muscle and retain muscle while getting a steady amount of fiber, fats, and carbohydrates. And we call it from low glycemic vegetables, lean meat proteins, and our ITG protein foods. Healthy oils, and really our vitamins are very crucial to be on the program, because you're going to take away some crucial food groups, so that you need to make sure that you are on those proper vitamins and minerals. Your carb intake is going to vary a little bit depending on the program, but you're at about 40 to 60 grams per day. And your calorie intake is about 900 to 1200 per day. Now, let me talk about the calorie intake, because that people goes, wait a minute here. I mentioned the word BMR, which is your basic metabolic rate, and that means how many calories your body needs to burn every day. And I'm not talking about working out and all that type of, I think just existing. So the thing is that everybody's going to be a little different. Let's just say it's 1,500. Men could be 1,800 to 2,000 basic calories per day to maintain. Well, remember I showed you before, how many calories it takes to burn a pound of fat, etc. Well, the thing is, if you needed 1,500 calories a day and you're only going to get 1,000, where are those other calories going to come from? So guess what? It comes from your fat. That's what your calories do. And it burn 9 kilocalories. You're going to have more energy. So that's where that deficit comes from in calories. Your body's not starving yourself, which some people get scared of that. You're not starving yourself. You're actually getting energy from the fat in your body. So that is the beauty of the program, and that's why it works so well. Now, the thing is a lot of people go, there's a lot of craze out there right now, keto, and there's so many different keto diets out there. Some are very effective. Some of them are, there's a lot of people that have written their own programs and they recommend it. The thing is, we are called what we call a modified ketogenic diet. It's low carb, lower fat. Remember, if you have a lot of high fat, that's more calories. You might lose weight at first on it, but then it's going to slow your weight loss down because you're still having all those calories, and that actually will turn into fat. So the thing is, that's why we call it a modified ketogenic, because it's not the high fat. So we're going to moderate your fat intake. You lose weight, you lose body fat, and Brittany's going to tell you about her wonderful machine that's going to show you actually what you lose. It's a great tool. Inflammation, bloating, and cravings. Now, this is what I love, is just kind of compare. The first little pie chart on top is really showing, that's how kind of the government guidelines for eating, how you break down, and it is in a percentage, in a varied percentage. They used to call it the little triangle. Now they call it the plate. But so they recommend 20 to 35% of your calories come from fat, 20 to 35% come from protein, and 45 to 65 from carbohydrates. Now, on a fad keto, this is very interesting. They're saying 60 to 80% of your diet should come from fat. And they have keto fat bombs and things like that. Eating raw butter, it's just, anybody with cholesterol issues or some other health issues, you need to be working with your doctor on these kind of diets. We're talking about protein from 20 to 35%, carbs as low as 5 to 12%. ITG diet, modified keto, is we're looking at fat. Yes, you get some healthy fats, some good healthy oils and things like that. You're going to get fats from some of the proteins that you have. 30 to 35%, you see the difference there. Carbs, 18 to 20%, and protein, 40 to 45%. And this just kind of gives you a little idea on the different kind of calories that you're going to have breaking down. As you notice, the fad keto, you have more calories in your program. So I hope this helps you understand a little bit of the keto fad. All right. This is a fun question. And if you go to Brittany's office, you will see this little model.
Yes, yes. So if you've been in our office in the past 2 years, I am sure you have seen this gelatinous looking, kind of booger looking thing here. It is a pile of fat. So this is our next question we're going to be asking here. We're going to be basically be estimating how much fat do you think this is? So based off this picture, how many pounds of fat do you think that is? Keeping in mind it's about 14 inches long, so it's pretty big. I'm going to go ahead and start that third poll so we can see what you folks think as of now. Should be able to go ahead and vote. How many pounds of fat do you think that blob is? All right, looks like we got some answers in here. Great, great. Wait a few more seconds. How many pounds of fat? Oh, Laura, I didn't even mention this. Somebody actually took out all the veins from our pound of fat there too, so it actually does resemble more of a booger-like consistency now. So, all right, folks, let's go ahead and end the polling here, and so we can get our answer. Hey, most of you did very, very well. That's awesome. 5 pounds of fat. Yes, that big guy is 5 pounds of fat. They even make one that's 10 pounds, but I didn't want anyone to try and pick that bad boy up. So, if you do come to our office, you will see this guy outside in the lobby. So that is about 5 pounds of fat there for you.
Interesting. As you're losing weight on the program, I'm going to tell you a quick, I try not to tell a lot of stories, but I had a young gal that was on the program. She needed to lose about 50 pounds. And she was about 36 years old. Her mother had passed away from a heart attack but very young. And she goes, I don't want to be my mother. And so it was very fun because she was at the grocery store. She was at Publix and she was shopping. And she had lost like 25 pounds. So she was halfway to her goal. And she calls me up. And that's back when I was coaching at our clinic. She calls me up and said, I'm sick of this program. I'm sick of this diet. And I go, Christy, where are you? She goes, well, I'm in Publix. I'm shopping. She goes, well, I go, where are you? She goes, I'm in the vegetables. Where do you think? Because, tell me I've got to eat all these vegetables. I said, I want you to go over and pick up 5 5-pound bags of potatoes. She goes, I can't eat potatoes. And I said, yes, I know. So she carried that 25 pounds around the perimeter of the store. I said, then you call me back. It was amazing. She said, I can't believe I carried that weight around. So it's kind of fun to do. I had one gal that she carried a 40-pound bag of dog food up the 2 flights of stairs in her apartment. She goes, that's how much weight I lost. So keep that in mind as you're losing weight. Compare it to it, and it's kind of a fun little thing. So that was one of my stories. Okay. So we're going to go into a little bit about the program and tell you a little bit about it. Basically, it is a 3-step nutrition program that was written by Dr. John DeCosmo. He's our medical director. We'll show you his picture a little bit later. He's a DO here in the St. Petersburg area. We've been working together with him for years. And basically, it was designed to get you into a light state of ketosis quickly and efficiently by utilizing our protein products and whole foods. That's how I let you know. You're going to have your vegetables. You're going to have a real protein. You're going to have salad. And basically the ITG vitamins, and basically this is to get to your results. And it's all about the science, guys. This is not a fad program. It was designed by a medical doctor. We've tested this over. We have tons of testimonials. We're going to show you some of those tonight, but it does work. But you know what? It's up to you to be compliant, to make sure you follow your coach's direction, because you've got to want to do it. We can't do it for you. You've got to want to do it for yourself. Don't do it for anyone else, but do it yourself. So basically in step 1, this is where your start is. And you're going to sit down and go through a consultation with Brittany. You're going to meet with Pam, but once you get going on it, basically I'm going to give you a high level of what the program is out. You're going to have basically 4 meals a day. 3 out of your 4 meals a day, you're going to have 3 of the ITG products. And, if we were together, we'd be sampling products. But we've got all kinds of products, which you did get a 1-sheeter on the photos of the products. We've got drinks, we've got puddings, we've got shakes, we've got crunchies, bars, really such a wide variety of products that I think you'll find something that you do like. It provides you with the correct amount of healthy protein necessary to protect and maintain your calorie-burning muscles, and all the while you burn your fat. Now, the thing is, you will follow this to get to 100% of your weight loss. Don't have to count calories. You don't have to count points. You don't have to count your macronutrients, because it's really all designed in the program for you. Now, why are ITG products? It's because they are lower in calories, they're lower in carbs, they're lower in fat, low in sugar. They're higher in protein. This is not a hyper protein diet. It's the amount of protein you need. High in fiber, highly absorbable. Now, this is what I call protein, they're protein isolates, and the protein are broken down to essential amino acids. They are what I call pharmaceutical grade, manufactured, GMP, manufactured, forgot what that calls. Anyway, they're under government regulations. And so they are pharmaceutical grade, so they're high quality protein. So you should feel very, very comfortable with them. And I deal with the manufacturers. We don't manufacture them. We deal with manufacturers that specialize it. FDA comes in and checks everything out. Products like ours are not FDA regulated because they're not drugs, but they are FDA label approved. So you have to make sure, we have to make sure everything that is in that box that is true. Basically, it is the best way to maximize your protein and the minimum amount of calories. Why lean meat proteins? We want to prevent muscle mass because there are other protein out there that we recommend lean meat proteins in the program. Proteins, vitality, and basically everything in your body is made of protein. Basically, you're going to have your lean meats options for your dinner, which include beef, poultry, pork, veal, seafood, fish, and vegetarian options such as tofu, veggie burgers, and liquid egg whites. If you are a vegetarian, yes, you can do the program. You just have to be careful about some of the vegetarian products out there because they are higher in carbohydrates. You have to watch your labels, and we do have a list of recommended products that you can use. Why glycemic vegetables, low glycemic vegetables? Basically, they are low, very slowly digested, absorbed, so you don't have raise your sugar levels. On the other hand, foods with high glycemic index values are quickly digested and absorbed, resulting in rapid blood sugar levels. So that's why, like no peas, carrots, corn, and things like that, you're gonna have some good quality vegetables, and they also have good fiber in there. The vegetables are very, very important. You need to eat everything that's on the menu, and sometimes it's a lot of food. Actually, you'll be surprised if you eat your vegetables and drinking your water, which we didn't talk about much yet. But if you do those things, you should not be hungry on this program. Ketosis is also a natural appetite suppressant. So when your body does go into ketosis, you're not going to be as hungry. So the thing is, it is natural appetite suppressant. So that will happen, like I said, after a couple of days on the program. Now, supplements, we talked about this before. The 3 mandatory supplements that are on the program is a multivitamin, calcium, magnesium, and omega. There are 369, they're enteric-coated, no burping. So they were actually developed by Dr. John, working with a, we don't manufacture in-house, obviously we have a party that manufactures, but we do work with a local manufacturing supplement manufacturer that does provide our supplements. And really is important. We find that people, if they're not taking their supplements, they're not going to be as successful. Transition. Now, I'm going to tell you right up front, you need to make the commitment. I told you before, it's up to you to want to make the commitment to get on the program and to stay on the program and stay compliant and do all 3 steps. If you get your weight loss and go running away, ooh, I'm happy, you know what? You're not going to maintain that weight loss. You need to learn how to eat healthy for the rest of your life. So this is important, the transition, because if you all of a sudden stop the program, I lost my 30 pounds or whatever, and then you just go back to your normal eating, you're going to put on the weight. The thing is, and this is so important for stabilization, but you can't go from 1,000 calories a day to 2,000, 2,500 calories a day without slowly doing it. So that's why we have a transition process. So we're going to slowly reintroduce moderate amounts of the fruits, the grains, the fats, carbohydrates into your diet each week for about 4 transition weeks. And this will allow your body to readjust to get your body, the insulin levels working properly, because that pancreas creates insulin, and we wanted to make sure that you keep that weight off. These are foods, a photo of the foods, lean meats, fruits, dairies, and fats, and whole grains. Success for your life. This is really important. We're calling it, you're going to hear more about ITG's Survive and Thrive. Survival, the thing is being healthy for the rest of your life, and this is so important. You're going to learn how to eat healthy, like what you've been taught, once you've achieved your weight loss goal, and we want you to maintain this for a good, balanced diet for the rest of your life. So I'm going to let Brittany take it away right now. She's going to tell you what it entails to get started on the program.
All right. All right. So when you first get started on our program, the first thing that we do is we go over kind of a pre-screening with everybody. This is going to go over any basic and general medical conditions that you have, prescriptions and medications that you're on, and also medical concerns, because we do have a lot of dieters, who have specific eating patterns. I even have somebody who commented about having an allergy as well. We can definitely customize things based off of allergies. But we sit down and go over, once again, medical history, food allergies, any current conditions, and also how to modify medications down the road. So diabetes medications, as well as different types of hypertension and things of that nature. A lot of the times in that first month, they usually drop anywhere between a minimum of maybe 7 or 8 pounds all the way up to, I think I've seen somebody as high as 17 pounds in the first month, I think. And a lot of the time, since that's such a giant change so quickly, unfortunately, whatever medication you're taking, you don't need it as much. You're not eating all the foods that you're normally eating that helps keep those sugars up. You're not eating all the sodium that helps the blood pressure keep going, things of that nature. So since we change a little bit of everything, modifying medications is really important down the road too. So we really focus on that in our first consultation visit. Also, once you're done with your consultation with Pamela, she goes over the medical part of it. I'm going to take you back to my office, and we're going to go over all of the aspects of the ITG plan. I know we did an overview here, but I'm going to go more in depth on kind of what we expect and things of that nature in the first part of the program. Also, how we can help you. A lot of the things right now we've had to change because of COVID. I'm sure everyone is pretty tired of hearing that at this point, but yes, we did make a lot of changes. So we have a lot more options for remote coaching now. We have a lot more options for people coming in every 2 to 3 weeks for their scans and things of that nature. So we're kind of changing with the times a little bit as well. Also, for your first visit for your consultation, we're going to get you on our new InBody 270 scale. So there's a sheet after this slide that we're going to look at next. And that's basically going to be a layout of your readings. So when you come in, we get your general height, and then we're also going to get your general weight, which makes us create a profile for you. When you jump onto our scale, it's going to do a full body analysis. So it's going to break down for us your water. It's going to break down for us your skeletal muscle mass, which is so important since the muscle is what supports your bones to prevent injuries. A lot of people don't realize if you don't have that skeletal muscle around those bones, you are a lot more likely to have different types of orthopedic issues, joint issues, and once again, frailties, injuries, unbalances, falling comes a little bit more easy as well. So it actually breaks down how much each individual body part weighs, both arms, both legs, and then the middle part, which is the trunk. And it tells us how much it weighs, but it also gives us a percentage. So when you are looking at BMI, you'll hear that I really hate using that number, but that is the most recognized number when it comes to health standards. So BMI. A lot of the times with the BMI, unfortunately, it's hard to tell internally what is actually going on. And I'm sure all of you have experienced it at some point where you're dieting or you're trying to lose weight and you feel like you're doing everything right, but you jump on the scale and that number is the same. And that can be so frustrating because you don't know what's going on internally. So with our scale, we can tell you if you gained muscle in the past week or two. It'll actually tell us how many pounds of muscle you went up or down, which the whole point of this, as Laura already said, is we want to retain as much muscle as possible to really help support those bones. It's also going to tell us how many pounds of minerals, which does include your bones. So a lot of the times it can actually show us, based off of your left leg, your left arm, your right arm, whichever body part it is, if there's a certain percentage on there based off of your amount of fat in that area, plus the amount of bone and actual muscle in that area, it gives us a percent and tells us if that body part can support your weight. So for instance, when people jump on who have had a left hip replacement, if anyone's had a hip replacement, it's a long, steady road to recovery. Also, on top of that, sometimes people tend to baby their left side and they put more stress and pressure on the right side of their body. So we've actually had somebody on our scale so we could actually witness that. So I could actually turn the sheet over, show them individually what the differences were between their legs and things of that nature. The other thing that's really, really interesting that also Laurel mentioned earlier is that basal metabolic rate, how many calories you burn at a resting heart rate that we have to try to get to. And our scale breaks that down as well and gives us an estimation of your BMR also. So that kind of helps us see if you might need more protein requirements, things of that nature. Of course, men typically do need more protein on our diet. There is a specific plan for them. So of course we do go over that as well. But yeah, we'll go ahead and go to that next slide. So every time you come in, we do everything bi-weekly now for when you come in for your in-body scans. This is actually the printout that you're going to get for every 2 weeks that you do our scans. It's going to break down your general body composition there, which is going to be the amount of water, as I mentioned, muscle, bones, and then it says storing excess energy, which is body fat mass, an estimation of mass. Keep in mind, there's multiple types of fats in the body, so it's giving a general mass of them all. It's also going to break down based off of your gender, your age, your height, and your weight. So not just BMI, which uses your height and weight, it also uses your gender and age to tell you if you're in good areas for health standards when it comes to your normal weight, your skeletal muscle mass, which is your muscle, as well as your body fat mass, which is your body fat. So it's going to kind of tell us if you're underproduced in certain areas, if you're right on track, or if we have a little bit too much that we need to bring down. The other thing is it does list your BMI. That is, once again, that number will always be there, the BMI number, but percent of body fat is something that is very important also. It's very interesting. I think over the 3 years, Laurel, I'm sure you've heard of this also, is I have a lot of people that will start the diet and they'll talk about this friend that they have, the friend that is just can eat anything she wants. She's so tiny. She can eat all the horrible foods and she stays tiny. Well, let me tell you something. There is a specific type of body style, which is a slimmer person, but that does not mean they don't have an overproduction of fat and not enough muscle. Just because you are thin, it does not mean you are healthy by any health standards. It might mean you might have less possibilities of certain comorbidities, but it's still, you don't know what's going on internally. So I'm sure we all have one of those frustrating friends. But with our scale here, it really has helped us a lot explain to patients, hey, the reason your scale number didn't move this week is because you've been doing a lot more walking. So you gained 2 pounds of muscle, but you still lost 1 pound of fat. So the scale has really, really put a lot of people at ease. You really want some encouragement when you feel like you're doing everything you're supposed to be doing, staying active and things of that nature. So the in-body scale has really just helped us stay on top of that, find out what areas we're missing. And also, it also, once again, your muscle is just the one thing that I never shut up about because I don't think we can ever have enough production of it. And right now, since there's not as many activities, there's plenty of time right now to get out and get moving. So yes, that's our in-body scale. We'll definitely go more over that when you're in office and everything, because I can obviously talk about it all day. But we'll go ahead and move on to the next slide. All right, so when you first start, all dieters will start off with a starter kit. Now, that's why we ask for any types of allergies or any types of things of that nature that we have to customize for the kit. So if you do have any types of allergies, we talk about that beforehand, and we do make substitutions for you as well if you need it. Now, in your starter kit, you get 44 meals. That is a 14-day supply of everything you need in there to get started. So it's going to have your 14-day supplements, which is an omega-369. It is enteric-coated and it's molecularly distilled. So it has GLA in it as well, which is a different type of omega. So it is a buffered form. I know Laurel and I have talked about this a few years ago with the old fish oil, but this fish oil is wonderful. You don't burp it up, which is nobody likes burping up fish oil. So fish oil is great. We have a calcium magnesium supplement that's going to help not only with the bones, but to help keep you a little bit regular as well, since you're having so much more fiber. Plus, most Americans, unfortunately, are a little bit deficient in magnesium. It's not really found in our soil anymore. So we do supplement that magnesium as well. And then last but not least is our multivitamin. So I'm sure people have vitamins and things of that nature at home, and I'm aware that there are really great quality vitamins out there and things of that nature, but we require our vitamins with this program. The first year we had this in 2018, we actually let people try some of their vitamins here or there that were very adamant about having medically, prescribed vitamins. The one thing they had in common, mostly every single person developed leg cramps. It was really crazy. It was within a few weeks, not even really. I think I had a lady that was about 4 days in. So here's the one thing. Our vitamins are specifically calibrated to a modified ketogenic diet, which is what the ITG program is. So unfortunately, we will have you switch over to our vitamins. Now, if there is anything else vitamin supplement wise that you have any questions about, we can definitely discuss that if it's special circumstances or anything of that nature. You're also going to receive our ITG blender bottle, which is a cute little blender bottle there to mix up all your shakes. A nice little salt shaker. We try to have everyone steer towards sea salts, Himalayan salts, whatever. That's just the natural ionic salts, not really anything that's deionized like normal table salts. You're also going to get to try a bunch of our different types of breakfast items, our shakes, our bars, our soups, and our fruit drinks. We put 6 different types of crunchy snacks in there for you to try. And then we also put 7 different flavors of bars in there for you to try too. Last but not least, we give you your dieter folder. That's going to have all your starting paperwork. I have a packet in there to help you get started when you're at home. Trust me, I've been there. I've taken my kit home and taken everything out and gone, okay, what now? Where would I start? So I made a nice little packet. It breaks everything down to kind of get into the program and get you started. And also on top of that, I'm sure as you can see, Laurel is a ray of sunshine. She's always available for any questions, me as well, for any reason, if you ever can't get a hold of me also. So let's go ahead and go to that next slide, Laurel. And this is that slide we're talking about. So this is Dr. DeCosmo here. He is the medical examiner for the ITG program. Laurel, is there anything else you wanted to add about him? He's wonderful.
Yeah, he's wonderful. He's been around a long time, seen a lot of things, and just really, like you said, he wanted to work with people about getting them healthy, not just prescribing medications. So as an osteopathic doctor, that's kind of what they do. So he's been around, and he developed the program. If we have questions, we always go to him. All right, so we got some testimonials here, and Brittany's going to take over some of her testimonials here and tell about some real stories about people in your area.
All right, folks, so we have a few patients here who are completely okay with us sharing their success stories because they're very happy about them. The first ones you're seeing here is actually a wonderful couple, husband and wife. They did the program together. And one of the funniest things I think I ever saw when it came to dieting is how competitive they were with each other. And like Laurel said earlier, it was absolutely true. She and him would do the same things, go for 2 to 3 mile jogs together, maybe a bike ride, walking the animals, things of that nature. And her husband seemed to lose, almost twice as much as she did every single week. She caught up, she did, but it was a little bit slower. And like Laurel said, men are just built differently. I tell everyone the program works for everybody, but it was built for men is kind of what I kind of like joke around about. So yeah, together they were able to lose, I believe it was Carol lost about 45 pounds and then David lost over 55 pounds. It's actually more than it was listed here. They actually also, Laurel, I don't think I got to mention this to you as well. They actually came in 2 months ago for their 1-year maintenance follow-up. So we've had our program long enough to where they're finally starting to come back for their maintenance follow-up. So once you lose your weight and go through transitioning, the next hurdle is maintaining. That is kind of the biggest thing because now you're on your own. You can order whatever, go wherever, eat whatever. But remember, if you follow everything we tell you and follow the outlines that we give you and understand, too, the reasoning why we have everyone do the things that we do, it makes it a lot easier. And for this couple, it clicked very easy. They were able to really get to their goals very quickly. And a year later, they're actually she was actually 4 pounds lighter and he was actually about 3 pounds lighter. So we didn't have our scale a year ago, unfortunately, so we can't see the differences internally, but they were still down too in maintenance as well, which is great.
Good job, Brittany.
Yeah, they did great. Laurel and I, this is a very, very great story with us, okay? So this is Glenn, and you'll see his wife, Joan, coming up in the next slide. They were our very first ITG patients that we did together, Laurel, in March of 2018. We all sat down together and everything, and it was very, very interesting because Glenn was, very quiet, very reserved, didn't really want to interact with us too much. It doesn't hurt my feeling, it's okay. And then the wife and everything, Joan's a ray of sunshine, so happy to be there, ready to get involved in everything of that nature. And at the end of the program, when they actually came to a seminar to speak and Laurel actually got to see them, she was blown away.
Yes.
He literally got up and was just joking around, just so happy, telling everyone about his progress and everything. He flipped completely 180. He went from just being grumpy and upset all the time to just really just being a happier person. He attributes it to the actual lessening of the insulin. So Glenn here, actually the reason why he started our program is because his A1C was at a 8.1. He's a type 2 diabetic and he was on an insulin pump, unfortunately, for regulation. So an interesting story about him also is when he went back up north to his endocrinologist, he was one of the first patients that his endocrinologist up north had ever seen that was actually able to get off of his insulin pump. So he takes, I believe, 1 glipizide a day to kind of help, kind of arrange it and everything. But yeah, he was able to actually get off of his pump. So his BMI also, he brought it down to a 32.8. I think the lowest he got was actually a 31, I believe. But yeah, he did the program wonderfully and he paid off for the benefit.
When I was there too, he actually, at first he said he was so funny. He goes, I don't want to talk, but he did. And when he stood up, one other thing, he talked not just about his insulin, but he talked about, I don't know if you remember, he talked about his cardiologist, and he had kind of a blockage on one side.
Yeah.
And when he went back to his cardiologist, the blockage was gone, which his cardiologist wasn't surprised, because he said, when I see people lose weight, this happens. But it was really, I mean, that was a life-shattering experience.
Yeah, it was unexpected, and yeah, he had no idea that he even had that issue. I know, it's probably scary if I went to a doctor and found that out. Yeah, this is his wife, Joan. They did the program together. She was a ray of sunshine at the beginning. She's still a ray of sunshine. She lost about 33 pounds. They're currently in maintenance up north and everything as well, and they're both doing very, very well. I think it's about 3 years later, actually, they've been able to maintain. Okay, we'll go to the next ones here. These are Laurel's ones. I'll let her take over.
Yeah, we've had a practice here. We've helped lots of dieters. This is people who've actually come to our clinic. We have it called Slim Down St. Pete, right here in St. Pete. This is Joanne. Joanne was just a star. She drove an hour every single week back and forth to come to our clinic. She lost over 93 pounds from January to October, has maintained that weight. Her family was so proud of her. Her husband was so proud of her. I mean, she reduced all of her medications. And the other thing too is every night before she left, she would, text her husband and he'd say, "I'm so proud of you, honey." It was just really kind of a cool story. And just look at the difference in her. This one's a gal too. She actually was one of our employees at the time. She's actually moved on to another practice because she wanted to be closer to home. She moved. But she wanted to get healthy for her wedding. So she basically, in 26 weeks, she lost 53 pounds, 7% of her body fat. Her BMI went down 7.5 pounds, and she actually went down 6 sizes. So she was a beautiful girl to begin with, and she was a beautiful bride. This is Gary. This is the father of one of my clinics. He basically said, lost 80 pounds. He was in his 70s. He said he hasn't felt basically this alive for over 20 years. It take years off your life. This is a bit almost like a model select story. This is one from Michelle from MD Fitness here. She lost over 80.5 pounds. She was mid-30s. She had a little girl, but basically went from 201 down to 121. Just very much successful, and has maintained that. Is working out it's a Pilates studio that she kind of was coached by. This is another success story. And Tina, I would say that she was on here right now. She always called herself Big Tina. That was her name. Her son went into the Army, and she goes, okay, she was a single mom, raised her son from 4 years old, and said, okay, now it's time for mom. And so she went on the program, lost 44 pounds in 5 months, really had a weight problem, basically her adult life. Look at her now. She's maintained that. Very healthy lifestyle, and by the time he got out of, it wasn't the training, it was when he got out of some kind of the next computer school or whatever. Look at the difference in her, and just look at, she was a very happy person before, but just look how it changes people's lives. And guess what? Your picture can go here. Okay, Brittany's just going to kind of wrap this up here and kind of tell you how you can get started, or if you have more questions.
All right, folks, so there's a few other things I wanted to touch on. We did not really go over too much of kind of the pricing for it. I know it's usually something that people are very curious about. So attached to your email, there actually is a sheet on there called the ITG cost as well. So that does break everything down. There's also an ITG Foods picture. Normally you'd be in office, we'd have everything in front of you and things of that nature, trying samples and everything of that nature. So we had to kind of mix it up a little, but check all the attachments that you were sent to for your email when you registered for the seminar. All of my contact information is in there, my direct phone number as well as my direct email. If you have any other questions, you can definitely reach out to me. I'd happily go over anything you have any questions about. The second thing is, so when you go to our Vero Ortho page, that's veroortho.com, veroortho.com. We have an ITG Diet page there, and once you visit our ITG page there's an area where it says you can request a consultation. So it's going to ask you some general information. We're going to have you just fill out some basic info so I can locate your info for you. And then we contact you, go over your pre-screening, and get you scheduled and get you started. All right, perfect. So we are actually completed with our presentation. I wanted to thank everyone for coming. I have any questions, Laurel and I are going to stay here after until everyone's gone. If you have any questions, please type them out. We would love to go over them with you.
Thank you, everybody. It's been wonderful, and we'd love to have your feedback and see how you thought the whole event went.
Is there any questions, folks? Oops. And that 257 number, that's actually my direct phone number as well. So we have our main line, which is the 772-569-2330. But that number there, 257-3609, that is actually my direct phone number. So that'll come straight to my phone. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. We can go over anything you'd like. And then what we can do also is if you folks want to request a consultation, just go ahead and go to the ITG page at veroortho.com to request a consult, and we can get you started. All right, I'm just going to open up the chat, make sure. Okay. Common questions. I'm just going to go ahead and go into a few since everybody's still logged in here. One of the main things is that when you come in for your consultation that we get asked is, you know, does insurance cover it? So when you see our provider, Pamela Brauer, we do process that to your insurance. There can possibly be a co-payment or a co-insurance depending on your insurance. I try to do a little research beforehand so I can give you an estimation. But the good thing is there's no fees, no startup fees, nothing of that nature. There's no consult fees when you see me. I'm kind of included with your box when you start. But the other thing is that you pay out of pocket is just for the food itself. Actually, it looks like there's another question. Oh, a couple glasses of wine with dinner or a cocktail or two in the evening. That sounds like a great evening. But so with our plan, we actually recommend that people do not drink any alcohol in our plan. I'll be pretty straightforward though. That is something I still coach through because, you know, anybody over the age of 21, typically when they socialize, alcohol and food is involved. So we do have a lot of ways to kind of help with this. I actually had an interesting patient 2 years ago, I believe. When he started the program, he wanted to lose 50 pounds. The first thing he said to me in his consultation was, I drink 8 beers a day. Is that going to be a problem? Oh. Straight carbohydrates. So yes, it will be a problem. So he did not want to stop right away. So I try to evaluate stuff in your consultations that I feel like you absolutely need. And I know sometimes you feel like you need something versus you want something. So it's kind of hard to tell. So for the first 2 weeks, Ian, to give you a clearer answer, I really try to have everybody with that starter kit. Don't deviate. Don't have any alcohol during that starter kit and see if you miss anything. Everyone says they're going to miss wine. They're going to miss bread, pasta, that fun thing. Guess what? A few weeks down the road, it never comes up again with most of our dieters. They have sweets. They have the stuff from us. We give you a lot of options because you're constantly eating. When you think of dieting, you kind of think of, oh, I'm going to be eating like a squirrel pretty much. No, not on ours. You're going to be eating full meals multiple times throughout the day. So, Ian, that is something that we can definitely talk about one-on-one for sure. I will say you are not alone. Most of my dieters say they like to tune down their night and everything with a glass of wine or anything. So, actually the other day, Laurel, guess what I actually saw in the supermarket that I'd never seen before? It was a keto wine.
Oh, yeah.
It was interesting. Yeah. So my point is they come out with new things all the time. But what we do is we have you stick to the 14-day kit, see if you are missing anything, and then we'll see if we can talk about like a reward night or something of that nature to kind of keep it in tune a little bit. But no, I have people who honestly drink halfway through the program, things of that nature. I don't consider it a problem until you stop losing weight. And then I'm going to analyze everything you're doing. And if that alcohol is the one bad thing we're doing, that's the one thing we're going to have to try and take out. So, you know, it's kind of up to each person because like Laurel mentioned earlier also, once you get home, I'm not there anymore. Laurel's not there. No one's there. So those decisions that you're going to make those decisions. So my political correct answer is no alcohol in the program.
I want to give you a few little hints too. You know, sometimes it's not about drinking alcohol. It's about the social aspect of it, having something, you know, to drink. And I found taking a pretty glass and maybe some sparkling water, and putting that in a lime or lemon, then people look like you're having a drink. If it's a social thing, makes me feel good. I like that glass of wine at night when I come home. But when I do my little tune-up, I do it, you know, twice a year I do about a tune-up. So I take a pretty glass, makes me feel good about myself, and put some, I drink like LaCroix or like a Perrier or that type of a water, and I put a little lime or lemon in, and that makes me feel special. So it's not so much always just having alcohol, it's the act of having a drink. So make yourself feel good, put it in a pretty glass with a sparkling water, and you know what? You'll feel better about that. That's why I tell you, you guys are in great hands if you decide to go on the program with Brittany. She's a great coach, and she takes great care of people. She asks me questions, and right now, I've learned a lot from her myself. So you're in great hands with that whole organization over there. From Pam is very, very good at what she does, and Brittany's a superstar, and people do like her, and she'll become your best friend.
The one thing that I would say is the breakdown. So the breakdown for the ITG Foods is about $4 per meal. And as Laurel mentioned earlier, you essentially have about 3 to 4 of our products per day. So it averages to about $12 a day on our program. So normally when you start our program with our starter kit, that starter kit is normally $2.99. There's no tax, title, fee, whatever you can think of, nothing. There's nothing with it. It's $2.99. But this year, what we have done in light of this actual seminar as well is for joining our seminar, you get $50 off your starter kit. So your starter kit for the first 14 days is only $2.49. Plus, for joining us for our seminar, you're also going to get 1 free box of food after your starter kit when you come back as well. So it's about a $75 value that we put towards your starter kit for all of you joining us for our call tonight. But to give you, Diane, a little bit of an overview, a good breakdown for a weekly expense is close to $75 to $100 per week. And the reason I kind of say 75 to 100 is because I have some dieters who can eat the same thing every single day and they love it and they're fine. And I have some other dieters who literally need, different things every 2 to 3 days. So they buy more food typically to have more options. But yeah, $75 to $100 a week is kind of a good estimation for what you'll be spending. Your grocery list, of course, is going to go down because we do eliminate a lot of food groups. We do take out a lot of certain things here or there. We limit you to the low glycemic vegetables, the lean meats. We even talk about condiments, seasonings, syrups, dressings, all that fun stuff. And we kind of give you a sheet with that also. But yes, I'd say, Diane, about 75 to 100 per week is kind of the expense of the program. And that is included actually with the vitamins because you pay for those kind of every month as well. You get the 14-day supply of your vitamins. And then once those are gone, you choose whether you want your vitamins in the Vitapacks, which is what you get in the starter kit. So they're in little plastic packs that you just kind of take with you and rip them open when you're ready to take your vitamins, or you can purchase them in the individual vitamin bottles as well. So we have different options for that also. Good question, Diane. Apparently I tiptoed around that, Laurel. I guess I'm so sorry about that. Can you go out to, great question. I can't believe we didn't talk about that earlier. Yes, you can absolutely eat at restaurants right now. Laurel and them over there at ITG, as wonderful as they are, they actually provide everybody with a little bit of a wallet size kind of cheat sheet when it comes to eating out at restaurants. So essentially it's about 30 restaurants, items that you can find. There's certain things, help me out, Laura, there's like, there's Cracker Barrel, there's, Panera, anything you can think of is pretty much on there locally. And they basically help you with finding meals that they've already pre-approved that do comply with the program. But on top of that, I really focus on getting people comfortable in social settings. That's kind of my number one thing when you're on the first step of the program. First of all, it's when you're at a restaurant, nobody needs to know you're at a diet. It's none of their business. What I say now is that, if I have something specifically made a certain way, I typically just tell them I have a food allergen and they don't question it, nothing of that nature. That works out just fine. Don't put yourself on the spot like that. Nobody needs to know. The other thing when going out to restaurants is the biggest way to get into trouble is going to be your sauces and it's going to be your dressings. That's where they hide a lot of those different types of sugars in. So, we kind of coach everyone through that while they're out and about. But no, Diane, you can definitely still eat out at restaurants, of course. We show you how to kind of make changes to your day based off of what you're doing for lunch versus dinner. Some people really love having lately so they can avoid people. I'm noticing a big influx in our patients really enjoying eating around like 4 p.m. for their dinner, a little bit earlier than even the early birds a little bit. So yeah, that kind of hopefully will answer that question for you, Diane. Good question. Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, and don't be afraid to ask to tell them not to put butter on the vegetables. Just
Absolutely.
Because it's served that way, it doesn't have to come that way. So just think about ordering. And I'm going to give you a couple other hints. Before you go to, let's say you're going to meet people at a restaurant and get some friends, and you're not familiar with their menu. So go to the internet. Most of the time the menu is there. Always look at that and how can I change it to what I can have on the program, and always order first. Don't be the last person to order, because you know what? How much do you sit at the table like, oh my God, that sounds good. I'll have what she's having.
It's
then
happened
you'll make
to me.
choices.
It's happened plenty of times. I learned my lesson. When you told me that a year ago, Laurel, I use that every time. Anytime there's an option, I go first.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And those are just little things that really do help. And the bread basket, when my husband and I go up, push that at the end of the table. You guys enjoy it.
Right.
Because I love bread. The thing is that bread is full of sugar. And so that's not allowed on the program. So if I don't eat it, if it's not there, then I won't eat it. Lots of times we'll say, don't even bring it to the table if it's just my husband and I.
Out of sight, out of mind. Any other questions before we go ahead and get off? Wow, Laura, those are some pretty good questions, actually.
Great questions, guys.
Yeah, it was. All right, folks, everyone have a wonderful night. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get off now, all right? Bye, everyone.